We are now more than a week into the government shutdown, and the Senate has once again failed to pass a continuing resolution. Of course, you need 60 votes, so you need some help. Senate Majority Leader John Thune joins us now. Senator, Leader, it's always good to have you on. Peace might be breaking out.
Nice to see you, Joe.
Peace might be breaking out in the Middle East, but what I saw yesterday with some of the players on the floor, things seem like they're even getting worse between Republicans and Democrats on this shutdown situation.
Well, I think what's happening, Joe, is right now it's all about politics. And as Chuck Schumer pointed out in his interview yesterday, this is a big game for the Democrats. He actually said yesterday, every day this is getting better for us. I mean, do you think it's getting better for the troops that aren't going to get paid, the air traffic controllers that aren't going to get paid, for the Border Patrol agents that aren't going to get paid? This isn't a game. This is real. This is people's lives we're talking about. This is the families of the American people, and it's important to get the government open again. We give the Democrats an opportunity pretty much on a daily basis to actually vote to do that. And we have 55 senators, a majority, 55 out of 100 senators, who are voting to open the government. We need 5 more Democrats because, as you just pointed out, it takes 60 to do anything in the Senate.
Senator Fetterman, I guess rumor has it that he was in talking to you. How does this progress? Do you see getting to 60? Did he tell you he's talking to some of his colleagues, Democratic colleagues, about breaking away and maybe doing it? Or did he tell you exactly what type of commitments Republicans would need to make in terms of the subsidies, the Obamacare subsidies? Is there something sort of coming together you can tell us about?
Well, I talk to a number of Democrats on a regular basis, including Senator Fetterman, and Senator Fetterman has done what I think is the courageous thing and the right thing for the country, and that is voted consistently to open the government back up. But, I'm hoping there are a number of Democrats there, Joe. There are conversations going on all the time. But if this is going to get solved, it's probably going to get solved organically by rank-and-file Democrats, because their leadership has no interest in a solution. When Chuck Schumer is saying this is getting better for us every day, that's not somebody who wants to see this get resolved. And they are pandering to the left-wing special interest groups out there who have demanded this and demanded this showdown with the President of the United States. And so we've got a bill, as I've said, that's passed the House, that's sitting at the desk in the Senate that we could pass today, put it on the President's desk, he would sign it into law, and this shutdown whole fiasco ends, and people can get back to work, and we can start paying the federal employees who are starting to miss paychecks.
Every shutdown's different. There should never be a shutdown. I agree with you on that, and Democrats know that, and they get high and mighty when Republicans say they're going to do it, but then they're engaging in exactly what they supposedly are against. But this one's different. It does involve some issues that strike deep to people, especially some low-income people that would see subsidies not cover what it used to cover for their health care. They could be left with very big increases. At the same time, Democrats remove the cap on individuals that make up to $500,000 a year on some of these pandemic era subsidies. So, I mean, it's broken. Something's wrong. I guess your argument would be this is not the time to fix it. Open the government and then we'll fix it.
Right. That's a year-end deadline. And by the way, that doesn't impact the low-income people you're talking about. These are enhanced subsidies. These are the COVID-era subsidies. This is a COVID tax credit cliff created by the Democrats. They put the expiration date in place knowing full well that there would be a ton of pressure to try and extend it. But the truth is, what they're asking for here, Joe, is $1.5 trillion in new spending for free health care benefits to be extended to non-citizens. Those are all conditions of the counter-proposal that they put out there, which can't get anywhere close to. That gets 47 votes in the Senate, doesn't get a majority in the House, and wouldn't be signed into law by the President. So the simple reality we have in front of us today is we have a bill at the desk that can open up the government. We can have the conversation about the premium tax credits and the issues that they are raising. And I've said multiple times, we're more than happy to do that. I think there perhaps is a pathway forward on that, but it doesn't happen while they are holding the federal government hostage in this shutdown.
I guess maybe I didn't mean low income, but there are some average people, not wealthy people, that would see some big increases, I think, and that's what has Republicans.
What would happen, Joe, is it would, if we didn't do anything, it would drop down to where it was before they put these COVID-era policies into effect, which would be 400% of the poverty level. So you're talking about 130 grand a year. Right now, with no income cap, there are people who are making $500,000, 600 grand a year who are getting subsidies from the federal government for these policies. So, I mean, obviously there is perhaps a solution there that we can work with, but we've got to have some reforms. You can't just open up the cap on this. You can't have lots of people who pay nothing, absolutely nothing, at least some copay, some deductible, something that they pay, because there are literally millions of people on these policies today who don't even know they're covered, because the insurance companies are incentivized to auto-enroll them because they're getting direct payments from the federal government to do it.
Well, there's the reason that so many of these premiums are going up with Obamacare isn't just because of the expiration of the subsidies, and that's part of the problem. The overall ACA needs to be looked at, and at this point, it seems like the president is starting. Is he starting to put some pressure to get something done? And I won't say fold, but to concede to the Democrats. That the way the system is right now, you do need to probably increase subsidies at some point because it's just not working. I mean, healthcare, Obamacare premiums don't pay for the kind of healthcare you're getting right now. It has to be subsidized.
And partly because Obamacare, at its core, is inflationary. It's been driving up costs. I mean, the fundamental problem here is the underlying program, which again needs to be reformed. And the president wants to do that. The president would like to overhaul Obamacare and give people health insurance that is higher quality and more affordable. But you've got Obamacare now embedded for the last 15 years. The Democrats, again, enhanced these subsidies a few years ago, so there's no income cap on it. And so, yeah, frankly, I think these are all conversations that are ripe to be had, and I think the president is more than open to sitting down and working on solutions that would improve quality and affordability for people in this country when it comes to health care. But part of the problem you have is the Obamacare program in the first place, and everything that goes with it has an inflationary impact on health care costs. So health care costs have been going up. They're going to go up irrespective of what happens on these enhanced subsidies. They were going up anyway. But frankly, I think that's a problem that needs to be addressed, needs to be looked at, and we're willing to do that. But you can't do it while you're holding the federal government hostage.
The $1.5 trillion reminds me of the original Green New Deal. They would settle for much less. To just extend the subsidies, it's like, isn't it? It's about $450 billion over 10 years, isn't it? And I guess if there was some kind of compromise on that, are the Democrats open to at least having some type of restrictions on exactly who, changing the pandemic era subsidies so that it comes down to under, because Republicans aren't going to agree to $450 billion added into a CR. Just that's not the way it works, does it?
Yeah. To keep the government open for 7 weeks, right? Yeah, no. Well, and I think there are reasonable Democrats out there who are open to some of the reforms that have been suggested. I mean, the question you have to ask yourself is, should the American taxpayer be subsidizing people who are making $500,000 a year when it comes to their insurance? And so, I mean, I think this thing, and the very fact that it costs $400 billion to extend it, suggests that this thing ought to be ripe for reform. And I think there are some Democrats out there who'd be willing to do that. I mean, we keep getting, there's, like I said, there are conversations going on. The challenge they have is their leadership is so beholden right now to these far left special interest groups who basically are calling the shots. And, we keep hearing about this No Kings protest that's going to happen in Washington, D.C. on October 18th, and why the Democrats can't open up the government before that because they'll curry, anger from all these left-wing groups. I mean, I think that's what's driving this at the leadership level, but I'm hoping that rank-and-file Democrats will come to their senses. We need 5 more is all. We've got a majority We have 55 United States senators out of 100 who are voting to open up the government. The House has already done that. The president's willing to sign it. The only thing standing between the government being opened up again and us having a conversation about this is 5 Democrats coming forward and doing the right thing for the country.
So you think, in your view, Leader Schumer is not going to come in and say, "Okay, I see the light. We're going to go ahead and do this." You think he's going to stick with this is a great issue for us, and Trump shut down the government because he wants to cut everyone's health care. He'll stick to that, and you'll be able to get 5, and he can maintain his position, and you'll get 5 Democrats eventually that say, "Okay, we'll do it." Is that how it's going to end, in your view?
I think that's probably, I certainly hope that's how it ends. I don't think it's going to end with Chuck Schumer or the Democrat leadership, because, as I said, he told the press yesterday that every day this is getting better for us. This is a political game for these guys, and I understand they've got these outside groups and this left-wing constituency that is clamoring to fight with President Trump, but this isn't about the game. This is these are the real-life consequences that happen to the American people if their government doesn't act in a responsible way.